Hey, what's up guys, and hey Barbies and Kens. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gab. Today we're going to do some commentary. I'm happy to share Lisa's story and get this out there, and if you haven't heard this is a really, it's crazy. It's a vile, crazy story. But I am going to react to it with you guys today. Get ready for this one. So today we're going to be going over the story of Lisa Amato, who was on America's Next Top Model by Tyra Banks, and she's going to tell us some wild things about Tyra. Me being a model, I've heard so much about Tyra in, the last, 4 years this stuff has come out, 5 years, and I have to say, I loved Tyra in Life Size. That was, my thing as a child, so that's how I always think of her. And seeing her now as I'm an adult, I'm like, this woman is just out of control. Her antics, the things that she does is just vile and cruel, and I'm sure there's more stories, and if I can see any, I will cover them for you guys. But today we are going to be doing Lisa's story. So I hope that if you didn't know this stuff about Tyra, it kind of opens your eyes, and just trigger warning, it has the story she tells something to do with essay as a child. So just to anybody that could upset, I just want you to know that. Also, before we begin, let me scooch my butt up. I have these coming to my Depop shop. Charms, maybe on some little necklaces, and I'll have them on my eBay, so I have that in the link down below if you guys want to check it out. But let's go in with the video.
Hi, let's start without makeup. My name is Lisa Amato, and I'm America's Next Top Model All-Star winner. Was on cycle 5 as well. I know that people, the fandom, have a real problem with actual facts and like to just judge, and that's a lot of reason why a lot of the girls with trauma don't come forward.
That definitely sounds reasonable, and I think that's in any sort of sport, team, thing that you're in, that if something bad happens, people just don't feel comfortable enough to come forward. But then when other people are, it just feels more me too.
All the girls and boys had to sign contracts. If they said anything about production publicly or to each other, they can get sued for millions of dollars. What the girls don't know, and of course we're signing it, why would we talk about production? But the girls also don't know that those contracts are voided when the recording of these programs are done unethically.
I love her smirk after she says that, because she knows she's smart and she's 100% correct. So any kind of abuse like that, big no-no.
I came forward about production right after filming America's Next Top Model Cycle 5 on E's True Hollywood Story on America's Next Top Model. And I was like, if they sue me, what are they gonna do? I have nothing. They can't take anything.
Kind of love that though, that she just was like, what do I have to lose? Screw it, I'm gonna do that. And I love that for her. Good for you, Lisa.
I realized from that point forward, after I didn't get even threatened with a lawsuit, that they don't give a shit at all. So if you want to line up my stories, go for it.
Again, 100% valid. They are bullshitters. So I love her confidence, and I know it probably took her a very long time to get where she's at, but I love her confidence and where she has gotten herself and the woman she has become, and brought herself from her, which she's gonna get into with us, and then now
5. So here goes. Let's continue also in letting you guys know that I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I live a beautiful life. I'm married with 2 beautiful kids, and I'm just coming forward so that people understand how disgusting the industry is and how far they will go.
I love her. What a true queen. And can I just say, wherever she's living, that space again looks like a basement, maybe with stone in it. Looks like a little cave. I'm kind of living for it. I love it. It just looks like a little hideaway. I'd love to just be down there with all my shit.
Also, I'm incredibly successful, so I don't need people to say that I'm out here for money and to like create lies.
Which we all know they do. People just like to run their mouth and talk. Can I just say, ooh, I just cracked my hands at it. I feel like my hair is so unbalanced today and I don't like it. I just dyed it recently and I don't know how I feel. It's like in the camera, can I say I feel like Ariel, like in Little Mermaid? Wait, let me puff this up. Now it's Little Mermaid. But like, I don't know, it's very orangey though in like actual real life. I don't know. Little Mermaid vibes. Do. Okay, let's keep going. And I have Stitch in my hair. That's very appropriate.
Obviously, you don't know who I am. I don't know anyone realer than me. In fact, it's really annoying and lonely. So anyway, let's start with trauma. If anyone has gone through trauma, you know that it is very familiar once you're in it, and it's very easy to go back because it's familiar.
What she just said, I love how she quoted, I love how she said that, and it's so true to the T. When you're familiar with something that just is traumatic, it sounds like it's weird and stupid, and like, why would you? But like, that's just how our trauma reaction is. We just go back, and it's so dumb, but we do. I really know it's because I'm a survivor.
And your self-worth goes down, and you just get used to it. That being said, I don't think that anyone is in a league like Tyra. She is the queen of abuse. Queen. I feel blessed to even be here to tell you the story after 10 years of therapy. Truly.
Again, so proud of her for getting the help that she needs, admitting it, and just being an overall bad bitch. I was gonna say strong woman, but she's a bad bitch. This isn't any woman. She's a bad bee.
So thank you for listening to my story. And I also know that the fandom, how are you supposed to know what happened, because it's all behind the scenes? But please don't judge it until you hear.
You could have whatever favorite fandom you have, but I'm sure there's something vile and gross or weird and disturbing that's happened behind the scenes that you don't know about. And I don't know, I'm the type of person where if I hear shit like that, I'm kind of like, let's cut cords, but that's just me.
Let the girls have some space to tell their stories. I always have a problem with my right. Ooh. Okay, here goes the Tyra show.
Just curious, because she's doing her makeup while she tells us. Comment below. When you do your eyeliner, do you just do what she does and just go in there? Or do you go like... Because what do you do?
A producer from the Tyra show calls me, and I am already very adamant and do not want to go on, even with the invite, even to be on the show with the other contestants from Cycle 5, because it had just aired and I'm getting torn a new asshole, and I realized that they made me look crazy.
Well, yeah, why would you want to jump back into something where somebody made you look like you're insane? Like, don't you think, you know, history would repeat itself? So I could see why she was trying to protect herself in that aspect.
But nobody knows that they were weaponizing my trauma behind the scenes the entire time.
Which she's about to get into in a minute.
So when the producer calls me and tells me that they want me to talk about my childhood trauma on the show, I said absolutely not.
As she should. That's her business. And if she's not ready to talk about it, wants to talk about it, everyone wants to talk about it. Her business. It's not Tyra Banks's or her show. You know?
How dare you even ask me? Absolutely not. I have not had therapy, and I'm dealing with a really hard time right now because of Top Model. And so I always put a smile on my face, but I was really, really struggling.
With the information she just gave, don't you think somebody would be like, you know what, you're right. This is totally wrong. You're in the right. Have a good night. We're sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry for bothering you. Just listen to the story. It's intense.
Before Top Model, I want you to know that I was with a modeling agency. I was booking 2 jobs a month, an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. I had a side hustle, which was a waitress, but I was working.
It sounds like the time in her life. Oh my god, should I keep that in? My brain just like... It sounds like the time like, that she's talking about, like, that period of her life, she was doing well. Like, it seems like, you know, jobs are coming in. I mean, she had this other job. Waitresses do pretty decently well. So, I mean, it seems like she wasn't doing terribly.
I was doing the fashion weeks. I mean, my hair was dark and it was growing out, if you remember from cycle 5. That was from me going on tour for like months with Sebastian's hair. And they would do all these like really cool bald zipper head like creations. So
if I can find anything in the regards to what she was just talking about, I'm going to put it over here because it sounds really cool. I don't know if she had a shaved head, if they had to put on like a wig cap, and that's why she was saying her hair was coming in dark, that they were like doing stuff over it. I don't know, but it sounds really cool. If I can find pictures, I'll insert them for you.
Oh, now entering the world in this public arena, and not booking gigs that I normally would have was really devastating for me. So I said no. I said I would go on just to be on the show with the rest of the cast. And then after that, I was not going to do a private interview on her show.
That sounds extremely reasonable. And to be honest, I don't know why they could have just been like, you know what, that sounds awesome. It makes you be included and you don't have to talk about that if you don't want to. Do you see how these people just make shit hard for the actors, the workers, the models, whatever you want to classify, like, what the situation is? But, like, I feel like the industry does really give people a hard time because they just dig till they can just break you down to your lowest point, get what they need, and toss you. I know not everybody's like that, but I kind of feel like some of the industry is like that, you know?
Unless we just talked about makeup and talked about top model.
Which I guess they were not okay with, surprisingly.
I refused to talk about my childhood trauma.
Which should be a once and done procedure sort of thing, you would think.
Refused. In case anyone's wondering, I was sexually abused from the time I was in 3rd grade all the way to 7th by my mom's boyfriend, while she also physically abused me on the daily. And I had to hide her eating disorder, which is incredibly devastating as a child.
Also, just to add to that, no child should ever have to go through something like that. And I'm so sorry you had to, Lisa. That's absolutely awful. And I could see how you struggled with that. And I'm glad you got help as well.
Offered me $700 to do this interview about my childhood trauma. I said, absolutely not. Top model, I thought that when they did the psychological evaluation that you guys were gonna like help me. I didn't think that me exposing all my trauma was gonna be used against me.
All right, so I gotta say that's absolutely terrifying to hear. That personal stuff she let them know. They told them and now they're using it to weaponize her. That's sick.
That shit's fucked up. With this nice red lip. I'm gonna try to say this without a million different parts. Okay, so a producer from Top Model calls me and says, hey Lisa, the segment for your private interview and your guys' episode for Cycle 5 reunion is coming and I wanted to talk to you about your interview. And I said, okay. And they said, we really want you to talk about your childhood trauma. We think it's very important for you to pay it forward so that other people can learn from you. And I was like,
before I'm going to say what she says, how dare they? Like, how dare they be like, to come at it like that too and be like, well, we think that you should do this for... What if she's not ready to talk to anyone about it? Like, so that's nice that you fucking sign her up for her issues to put out to the world. That's nice, right? This story has me heated.
No, I already said that I'm not going to talk about my childhood trauma on the show. And it's really offensive now that you guys keep asking me because I'm dealing with that right now. I have not had any therapy and Top Model airing has made my life so much worse. So no. Cut to like a week before the show is about to tape.
You already know they didn't leave her ass alone. You already know they hit her ass back up, okay? You know what she's gonna say already. Ring, ring, ring.
Hey Lisa, I know you talked to like, I don't know, Mary. Now this is Tom. And we're calling from the Tyra show, and I wanted to talk to you about your private interview with Tyra. Sure. We really think it's important that you talk about your childhood trauma. And I was like, I refuse to do it. And they're like, okay, well, if you refuse to do it, then we might not be able to do the segment. And I was like, so we can't talk about me on the show. We can't talk about Fashion Week this year or makeup or anything. No, we really think that you need to talk about your childhood trauma.
I hope you're realizing too, they probably needed like this big thing for the show, like a big shocker for that episode, and they were gonna use her. And she was like, hell to the no.
And I was like, okay, well then cancel everything. And they're like, okay, so we won't have the car come. We won't have, you'll miss out on getting paid for that segment. And I was like, fine. Cut to, it's the day before filming for the Tyra show. And it's like now a new person. Hey, Lisa, this is another producer. We were all talking amongst ourselves and this is, Susie. And I'm just circling back with you, giving you one last try to see if you will talk about your childhood trauma with Tyra.
I feel like these people have like a paper or a clipboard and they're like, okay, you're going to hit her up this day, you're going to hit her up this day, and you're going to hit her up this day. I'm going to take that day. And if she says this, like, that's how I feel. These people just are relentless, and it's really, really disgusting. And they should be. I was going to say, I hope they're ashamed of themselves, but they should be. I really hope they are, because me, as a person, I feel like I could never just go along like that. Like, no.
On the Tyra show. And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is offensive. I was like, they're like, but it films tomorrow and you can make $700. And I was like, nope, won't do it. They're like, okay, so we'll cancel the car. I'm like, cancel the car.
I like how they like put their little, we're gonna cancel the car, you're not gonna get paid, you're not gonna get, like, she doesn't give a fuck. Like, she doesn't want any part of it. Bye.
That's fine. I don't care. Then it's the night before, and they go, Lisa, they call me again. Lisa, we want you to know that, like, Tyra agrees. We won't talk about your childhood trauma, and we'll just, we'll talk about fashion and makeup and, like, your favorite styles and top model, you on the show. I was like, great, that sounds great. And they're like, okay, so we'll just schedule the car to come back and we'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, great, okay.
Wow, that's nice. So what, do you think they went back to Tyra and they're like, she's just not budging because she just doesn't want to talk about something that's really personal and put it out to the world. And, like, she hasn't even gotten help for it. Maybe some even family doesn't even know. And Tyra's just like, I understand that. All right, let's pay her. Let's let her come on the show. Do you think that's what happened? Let's keep watching. Let's just keep absorbing the story. It's going to get bad. If you've never heard the story before, it's going to get bad. You just feel it. Do you ever just feel that feeling? It's like in your chest, deep pit stomach, you're just like, something's gonna go down.
When you've got a little mole there, but you want to make it a little darker. Car picks me up. I show up at the Tyra show. I see some of the other girls from my season. I say hello. I even said hello to Corinne, who was the person that I fought with on the show. But her and I realize now and have made up that this show is just horseshit.
Yeah, it probably caused them to get in a lot of fights they were in by them saying, well, this person said this and this person said that, and nobody said shit. I haven't watched enough episodes, to be honest, to get a full perspective, not even of their season, just in general of America's Next Top Model, but I've seen some episodes. Definitely like the controversial ones and ones she was in, but let's just keep going.
America's Next Top Model is just horseshit. We don't know about the Tyra show just yet. I already have my feelings, as you can tell. And I go into makeup, and they tell me that my segment is going to start in like an hour. So they're doing my makeup, and then while I'm almost done with my makeup, I hear a PA talk to another PA like on their walkies and goes, put Corinne's dad in room, like, whatever. I immediately freaked out because me hearing that made me so sad for Corinne, because the one person that has hurt her the most in her life was her dad.
You know it's gonna go down. You know it's gonna get bad. the fact that, like, this girl doesn't even care for her father, and they're like, "Oh, her dad's there," and then she's like, you know, when you see something that you're like, "That's not right," and then it starts clicking, and you're like, "Oh, God."
From our cycle, from Top Model, I knew that. So I'm done with makeup. They're starting to walk me towards the green room and towards the front, and my segment is about to start, and I see Corinne in the green room, and I'm like, "Corinne, they brought your dad here," and I'm trying to warn her. And I remember looking at her, and I'm seeing her over there in the green room, and I'm seeing there's a teleprompter. They're lining me up to go in front of the live studio audience. I see a teleprompter, and I see that they're like making sure that it's like moved away from me. I can tell they're like tilting it the other way. I'm looking at Corinne, and she's talking to somebody in the green room at the same time, and I can see her rolling her eyes and thinking that I'm trying to like ruin her life, like if I made that up, and now she's like mad at me again.
I'm surprised though for a split second too, she wasn't like, well, she brought this girl's dad here. Like, I wonder what, like, they're gonna do for my segment, if they're actually gonna do what they said they were gonna do. But I'm sure, like, maybe she was just overwhelmed about going out. I obviously no idea.
And then as soon they line me up, and they're like, "Okay, count to 3 and you go out." The teleprompter, it starts highlighting, and it goes, "Everyone, this is Lisa from Cycle 5 of Top Model. Everyone knows her as being the fun wild child, but what you don't know is that she was sexually molested her entire childhood."
How dare they? I can't imagine what this woman felt with people just staring back at her after they outed her like that. I can't imagine how overall she felt. God.
They pushed me out into a live studio audience. I remember feeling like an outer body experience, and I think I went into like fight or flight. And when I walked out onto set, I just remember like the audience was looking at me so crazy. I was devastated. I went to the front where Tyra's just sitting there on her stupid fucking couch, and I grabbed the pillows and I started throwing at her. I was throwing them at the audience. I was telling everyone to fuck off. I was grabbing the cameras, like the ones that are between the aisles of a talk show. I was grabbing me like, "Fuck you guys." I went bananas.
So that's obviously wild, and I truly feel like I've seen this clip of that happening, but when I looked back, I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe it's been scooped from the internet, but that's really bad. And she had every right to lash out and feel like that. I mean, she was probably so pissed.
Like, fucking irate. I lost my mind. If there were chairs that I could actually, like, pick up and throw, I would have thrown them at the walls, not to hurt people. And then right after that, they grabbed me and locked me in a closet. They locked me in a closet. I'm gonna put on my little cute earrings. So I remember, yeah, it was 2 men, one, like both PAs. One was like a little gay guy. I remember he was wearing like one of those like lime green studded belts, remember back then? And I trusted him because he was so nice to me from the very beginning when I got there. And then he's like, "Here, just walk in here," and he locked me in the closet.
That's actually terrifying. I'd probably have a panic attack and just be like hyperventilating and maybe pass out just from hyperventilating, freaking myself out. That's because you don't know what they're gonna do to you. They just locked you in a fucking closet, you know, like.
I was banging. I'm like, "Here, you can't lock me in a fucking closet." I was so pissed. From my understanding, they then went on they left my segment and they immediately went to Corinne's segment. And I think, I don't know what happened with her segment, but they did bring out her dad to her. And then after that was over, however long that took, and how long they locked me in a fucking closet, which is actually called kidnapping against my will.
The whole thing is just so wild to even just like think about. Like, how dare they? But also, like, they want a lawsuit.
They brought me out. And they said, Lisa, we promise. They brought me food, they brought me water, they calmed me down. I was so upset. And they said, Tyra says that she will just talk to you about you on the show.
It took like 7 times, but now they're like, now we can talk about hair and makeup and stuff. We're gonna put you through that first. Like, oh my god. How disgusting. Like, who is the one who, I'm gonna put it up on the screen, who was, like, the people for the Tyra show? I just want to put up, like, was it the WB, like, what channel was doing this? Because this is trash.
And, like, makeup and fashion. And you know what's the saddest thing? It was that I was like, well, I've already been put through all of this, so if I say no, then I don't get the $700. So I went on, acted normal. The audience must have thought I was crazy.
I'm sure they made her look like such an asshole, but I would love somebody who was there for that live taping to, like, come forward and be like, I was there, I saw her freak out, and, like, this is totally wrong. You know what I mean? Just, that would be cool.
But then I went and just talked to her about Top Model, and then the car drove me home, and that was it. I remember I went back home to my apartment. It was like 3 o'clock, like PM, and I opened a can of soup and I ate it. That's what I did.
Honestly, kudos to her for not wanting to snap the fuck out on her, as she just did that to her, then she has to go out and act like everything's perfectly fine. That's so sad.
The reason I went back on All Stars is because by then I had had so much therapy and I had found so much love in my life that I came back for revenge and to fight for my own integrity and my own persona in the public arena and show people who I really was. And I definitely wanted to also show that nobody can ever do that to me again.
I don't see anything wrong with it, because I totally ruined her self-image, probably, that she needed to go back and be like, hey, this is me. Fuck them.
And definitely no one could hurt me again the way that she had. And on All Stars 2, they lied a ton too. That was another thing. I was totally adamant not to go on that show, on the All Stars, but I knew that they couldn't hurt me anymore because I had so much therapy.
I really am proud of her that she overcome obstacles as a child to now. Like, that's just, now she could sit and share her story too, of what happened.
And yet they still did. They still found their ways to do it. They told me I could go home whenever I wanted. They were fucking liars. But I won. And that's a fact.
Before I even, like, give my closing thoughts, I love how she just, like, ends her video with, and I won. And that's like, I love that. Like, yes, you did, and you showed them up, and now she's living a healthy, beautiful life, and I love that for her. So I have to say, I'm just so proud of Lisa for coming forward, telling her story, giving hope to other people, maybe other people coming forward because of what she's done. And I'm just, you know, she had to do it when she was ready, and she wasn't ready on their terms, and they were trying to force her, and she just grew into this beautiful person. So I'm really happy that I was able to sit down and share her story with you guys, and you guys could see how toxic Tyra Banks is. If you guys liked the video, I really hope you thumbs it up, subscribe down below, become a Barbie or a Ken, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.